Hey everybody, in this video I'll be walking through how to make part 2 in our 3D modeling CAD practice parts using Onshape on the computer. So that being said, I'm going to try and work side by side so you can see where I'm deriving some of these dimensions. So first things first, if you're in Onshape, we need to go ahead and create a new part, which can be found up here in the top left. I'd like to give it a proper name, so in this case I'm going to call it my last name, modeling practice part 2. Hit OK. This brings us into our three-dimensional space, okay? And we see our front, top, and right side planes. As we stated previously, we always want to start by sketching first. As we look at our part here, what do I want to sketch so that I can, say, maybe extrude it and end up with either all or some of my part? In the last example, we sketched this front face and extruded it, which would leave us with the part. Here, we're not going to be able to do everything in one step. We're going to have to use a series of sketches, a series of extrusions to end up with the part. So what face or what side or what should I sketch first? And a good rule of thumb if we're using a multi-view is to go with what the front view is showing. It's not always going to be the case, but tends to work pretty well. So I'm going to sketch this front shape. Do I have all the dimensions for it? Well, I know the base of it's 10. I know the height of it's 6. I know the width of this top part is 4. The height of this bottom feature is 2. I don't know anything about the ramp, like its length or angle, but I should have enough of the other dimensions to be able to figure this out. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Sketch and select one of the planes. I don't care which one, but I like to go with front. And once I select front, I hit front on my cube so I can change my viewing perspective. On my mouse wheel, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to click and move and pan it with my mouse wheel as well. All right, I'm going to use extensively the line tool here. And I like to start by always starting in the origin. Please make sure that you do this. If you don't, you're going to have a much more frustrating time than you need to. This is going to lock our sketch to the origin, so Onshape knows where it is in three-dimensional space. From this point, I'm going to go ahead and click my line, make sure that it is perfectly flat, and at this point, I can type directly in the number 10 and hit Enter, and it will make that line 10 inches long. I'm going to zoom out and pan, give myself enough space. I need to go up 2, so I could either try and get close for an hour and do that, or just click, type in 2, and hit Enter, and you're good to go. I need to do the ramp. I don't really know much about it, so I'm just going to leave it for now. So I'm going to hit the Escape button on my keyboard. Next thing, I'm going to create the height, which we said was 6 according to my dimensions. So I'll click, type in a 6, hit Enter, and there it is. Next things up is to do this part, which is 4. So I'll click, type a 4, hit Enter. Now, I have where the top of the ramp is. I have where the bottom of the ramp is. Those are all exactly where they need to be. So if I just connect the two of the line, I will be left with that ramp perfectly dimensioned. All these lines are black, which is my indicator that it is fully dimensioned. There's no blue lines, no red lines, which are worse, so we're good to go. And I can hit the green checkbox which says, hey, I am done drawing. Now, upon doing this, nothing seemingly changes. So I always like to go back to my isometric view by clicking the top right corner of the cube. And now I can see, hey, I did sketch this closed 2D shape, this closed profile. Once you have a closed profile, you can do any of these 3D operations, the most common one being extrude. So if you click on it, you'll need to select the profile to extrude. So I'll click inside of this area. And I'll have to tell it how far to extrude, how far to take that shape and extend it. And how far does this have to go back, right? I sketch the front. How far back does it go? And where is that dimension? Well, it's not really up here, and I don't even know what this thing is. We haven't talked about it. But in the right side view, okay, I can see the hole, I can see the ramp. There's the depth. This is a 3-inch deep piece. So I will type in 3 and type or hit the checkbox. Now, we are not done with the part. We have the top slot and we have the hole. And unfortunately, um, you know, I have to continue now to repeat the previous steps. And what I mean by that is I have to continue to make sketches, to dimension those sketches, and then to extrude or do some other operation so that I'm left with this part in the end. So I'm going to do the square rectangle shape on top. So I will always sketch it, and I'm going to sketch on top. I then change my viewing angle using my cube to the top. And perhaps here I'll use the rectangle tool to save some time. You guys are always allowed to use these. Just use so at your own risk. And I'm going to click and make a rectangle. I'm going to use the dimension tool, which is right here. That will say this should be, according to my drawing over here, 3 in terms of its width, or excuse me, the depth here, it's 2. So these lines are telling us this measurement. That's 2. And this 0.5 is showing you how far from the edge that goes. 0.5. All the lines are black. We are good. We do not need to dimension anything else, even though in your head you might be like, well, should I make this 2? And should I make this 0.5 also? And if you do, notice they're grayed out. Onshape's smart enough to be like, hey, you don't need those. We don't need them because the other dimensions that we've already applied constrain our sketch in a way that those other dimensions have to be true. So they're kind of redundant. So we don't need them. So we're going to hit checkbox. I like to give myself that isometric view again, and then extrude it. Unfortunately, this dimension was left off the part. Whoever dimensioned this thing didn't do a very good job. Oh, wait, that's me. Now, to extrude this, I could either extrude it upwards and add to this part, or I could extrude it the other way and cut it. So where you see there's an arrow, okay, that says, hey, go the other way. Another way to do this is to, instead of having add be the default, hit remove and send it the other way, and it will know to cut through the part. Since the depth of the cut isn't specified on the multi-view, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's 0.5 and hit OK. We call that subtractive modeling, where you're cutting away. All right, the last feature is the hole. Again, rinse and repeat. We're going to hit sketch. Choose the face we want to sketch on. There's not going to be a great way, at least within my knowledge, to be able to get this lined up flat. So I'm just going to sketch in the 3D view, which is fine. I'm just not super comfortable with it. And I'm going to use the circle tool. With this particular circle tool, you first click to specify its center. So I'm just going to kind of randomly choose here. And then you drag, or I shouldn't say that, you move your mouse to make it bigger or smaller. And I'm just going to, again, randomly click right now because I'm going to dimension it anyway. Speaking of dimensioning, let's do it. Here's the dimension tool. If I click on the perimeter, I can specify its diameter, which is 1.5 according to the multi-view. I'm going to use that same dimension tool I have to edit this sketch. To specify its location, like where does this hole go? Notice that if I don't specify that, like I could even move it. So like I haven't nailed that information down. So let's define it. According to the drawing, from like this lip, like the bottom of the ramp up, should be 3 inches. So from the lip to the center of the circle should be 3. From the center of the circle to the edge of the part, like the front face, according to my multi-view, should be 1.5. All my lines are now black. I've specified the hole's location and size. I can hit my green checkbox. I'm done sketching. All right, you know what to do. Time to extrude. I'll hit the extrude button, select my circle. Again, I don't want to add a cylinder, I want to cut a hole, so I'll hit remove. Here, as far as the depth, okay, it's going to be hard to like type in an exact number. If you overshoot it, it's not a huge deal. So I don't know how deep like the exact number it needs to get through. So I could type in like 6 here, something that's definitely big enough, and it will extend all the way through. Okay, so that's kind of nice. To prove it to you, I'll go underneath. I'm going to go back really quickly with the extrude. I'm going to right click and edit that operation. Instead of typing in 6, I could also hit the end position and hit OK. I might have to edit that. I'm not sure why I didn't cut it. Well, interesting. Maybe we'll just go with the depth of 6 for now. Oh, now I'm just totally destroying it. We're going to delete this extrusion. We're going to go back and extrude our circle. We will remove it. Here we go. And you could type in the measurement. You could say go until next or through all. Just go through everything that you see. So there's some other ways to specify depth, how far a hole should extend outside of just typing in an exact number. So that's all I'm trying to show. Okay, last couple of seconds on here. How do we make it purple? If you right click on your part, you can hit edit appearance. That will allow you to change the color. So I'm going to choose a pink. And this thing's good to go. Last thing would be to turn in a picture of it. You can take a picture on your phone or iPad, or you can take a screenshot. If on your computer you have a snipping tool, you can use that. I like to use this one right here because you can just click and drag like that. The key here is make sure when you turn it in, I can see your name on the part in addition to your part. Don't give me a weird obscure view. Give me like a good looking isometric. And you can turn this in on schoolofg.com. Let me know how it goes. If you need help, I'm always here.